99.3 Nigeria Info.
We are the nation's number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Lagos, how are you today? How is the Okada band thing going? I'm very much interested in how you're going about Lagos today. Have you decided to go through the waterways? Or you decided to go with friends? You decided to carpool? Do you now use Keke now more? Or you're now using Korope, whatever it is, huh? Just keep it going, We'll get used to it. Some other local governments are not actually affected by this ban, so they may not feel what you're feeling at the moment, right? But just hang in there. We'll get through this, all right? I'm Sheriff Quadry, by the way. It's good to know that you're there. Last 1 hour, every Thursday, we discuss health and sometimes health-related matters. It doesn't have to be strictly health. Yes, and that's what we're about to do now. And oftentimes we have discussed dyslexia. More often than not, we've also discussed dyslexia in children, and then parents have reached out. We've had thorough conversation, but we're leaving out another class, which is the class of adults battling dyslexia. I think we only had one call on one of those occasions that we discussed dyslexia in children, of an adult who called in and spoke about his challenge of understanding stuff and the rest of it. But let me quickly tell you that this morning, if you're an adult and you're wondering, or if you're battling dyslexia, or you're wondering what it is that you're even battling, let me have you know that we have an expert on the show today. Olayide Odediran is my guest. She is a executive director at Dyslexia Nigeria, social impact, and of course, education specialist. She's certified cognitive coach, international board of credentialing. Is that it? Credentialing.
That's fine.
Help me now, Lady Mama Reni. What is it? Credentialing. Credentialing. Say, why are you laughing now? Oh, you're mocking me. It's credentialing. Credentialing. Oh, wow. She says it's so cool. Good morning to you, Olayide.
Good morning, Sheriff. Thanks for having me here.
It's good to have you here. Let's talk oh, yeah, you see? I'm about to say credentialing. Let's talk dyslexia in adults. What does that even mean? Some people don't even know that you have this in adults.
Yes. So dyslexia, as you might know, is a specific learning difficulty that affects literacy, so it's skills required for reading, writing, and spelling.
Yeah.
But in adults, usually adults have developed coping strategies for those, and it affects other things like organization, concentration, prioritization, time management. But dyslexia does exist in adults. It's a lifelong thing. It's something you're born with. You're dyslexic as a child, same thing as an adult.
Right, indeed. So how does an adult know that he or she is battling dyslexia?
Well, no one ever knows for certain until you actually do a diagnostic assessment, but there are some signs that you can look out for.
Okay.
So usually you would have a family history of learning problems, perhaps with literacy, speaking, reading and writing. You might have delayed speaking when you were young, hard time remembering abbreviations. You might have to reread text more than once for you to remember. Sometimes you read it and you don't comprehend what you're reading. You might have, because when you were young, you probably had been told you're not good enough, you're not trying hard enough. Adults with dyslexia also sometimes have low self-esteem, but they also struggle with time management, meeting deadlines, sometimes directional difficulties as well. There are many different signs across daily life, but you never know for certain until you do a diagnostic assessment.
So how do they begin their journey? Let's say somebody's listening right now and he could key into one or two things that you said.
Yeah.
How does the journey start?
So the journey really would have started in childhood.
Okay.
As a child, they might have been showing signs as a child, maybe not being able to remember nursery rhymes easily. They might have difficulties with, sequential things like remembering timetables or mixing up left and right their shoes or flipping letters, B's and D's and P's and Q's. And then having difficulties with reading as well, comprehending what they're reading. And if that wasn't caught early when they were learning to read, then when they get to sort of like grade 3 and higher, then it becomes even more challenging with having to read other things to learn other subjects. So then they start to perform poorly in academics in general, even though they're probably very intelligent, because dyslexia does not affect intelligence.
Oh,
That's right.
Okay. So once they know all of these things, what are the steps that they need to take
As a child or in adulthood?
as an adult?
As an adult, well, the first thing really is to get an assessment. An assessment is helpful because it helps you look at your entire cognitive profile. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And how can we give you strategies to cope with those?
Yeah.
Especially with adults, we have something called a workplace needs assessment.
Okay.
And what we'll then do is, in addition to looking at your cognitive profile, we would look at your job description, your
Right.
requirements in the office,
Right.
and see how your strengths and weaknesses play to your job role and expectations for that role. And then we can see strategies for how you can cope with those to optimize your performance in the workplace.
I want to talk about the area of stigmatization in this.
Right.
How does that affect them, adults battling dyslexia?
It's a very difficult thing for adults who have dyslexia, because it's something that has been building likely from when they were children, being told constantly that they're not good enough, they're not intelligent enough, or that they seem to know some things and then not others. For example, if they're doing very well in other parts of the academics and then are struggling with the literacy side, sometimes people look at it as laziness, or that they're dumb or they're stupid. And that really has nothing to do with it. It's a specific difficulty because it means you're fine in other things. So imagine like a forest, you're not allergic to anything in the forest but one species of plants.
Yeah.
So you're fine with everything else. It's just you're struggling with this part that has to do with language processing. And so that trauma builds up over time and really takes a hit on their confidence. And it takes a hit on even their belief in what they're able to do. And it can lead to imposter syndrome as well, having to overprove to themselves and others that they're capable of doing something. It can make them really shy about asking for help because they don't want to come across as not knowing what they're doing, and that itself is a vicious cycle of seeming incompetent.
Can it get worse?
So dyslexia can present itself in different ways in different situations. And I guess how the gravity of that really depends on what you're involved in. So you can imagine, looking again at that cognitive profile, if someone is struggling a lot with reading and writing, but they're very good, for example, with coming up with great ideas, which is a strength of dyslexia, then if they took a job as a secretary where they had to listen to people and write what they're saying quickly with accuracy, they might really struggle with that, and no one may ever see that strength of being creative with ideas. But if they took a job in an advertising agency, the difficulty may not really show, but the strength would really show. So whether it's worse or not, I think for me it depends on what is showing up depending on the context that they're in.
Now, as one who is dyslexic or has been dyslexic all his life,
Right.
As they grow older, do they become adaptive to their situations, or they become, I don't know, like really pronounced with their weaknesses? Is that something that, for someone who doesn't even know, but it keeps growing with the condition, and what's the what's the prognosis of that kind of person growing like that without management, without treatment?
Right. So that's a really good question, by the way. Thanks for that. Dyslexia occurs on a spectrum. You could be mildly dyslexic, or you could be extremely very dyslexic. So for an individual, say, who's mildly dyslexic and maybe has been struggling with reading and writing and has found coping strategies for those over time, as an adult, it may not be as pronounced.
Okay.
And they may find ways to hide it or to manage it without having been taught formally some strategies to use. For some other people who are on the more extreme end of dyslexia, they may not have been able to come up with strategies to cope with those, and without the specialized intervention, and that would become worse over time because then they keep getting exposed to more and more things that require those skills, and then they just don't have the strategies to cope with those.
For those who probably are listening to us right now, I know my people very well. And when I say my people, I mean Nigerians. Right. We're not in the culture of seeking medical help or medical intervention. What can someone do in the corners of their homes to, let's say, begin to manage their situation, being a dyslexic person?
Right. Thank you for that as well. So I think the first thing I want to pick up on there is, seeking medical help. Dyslexia is not a medical
It's a
issue,
medical
actually.
condition.
No, it's not. It's manifest in education. And the strategies that you use are really about education and learning and how you teach your brain to process information. So as an adult, there are some strategies that you can use depending on what difficulties are manifesting for you. So for example, if you had difficulties, say, with reading a lot of text, maybe you want to use more visual strategies, use diagrams or graphs or mind maps to help you visualize what it is that you need to process. If you're having difficulties, say, with reading a lot as well, you could use technology like text to speech. So that, on your computer, you could have that installed. And many computers come with that these days, where the computer itself can read to you what's on there. So you don't have to go through the process of reading it yourself. If you're having difficulties, completing tasks, you could break tasks up into small bits and small chunks of time, and then give yourself breaks at, intervals. Say every 15 minutes you take and go back. Switch up the tasks as well. You could use audiobooks if it's easier for you to listen to things. So there's some common strategies that you can use. I think the beauty about dyslexia in adults, when you identify it, is that what you require to be able to cope with it is they're not huge things. They're not difficult things. When we asked workplaces to become more dyslexia friendly, they're called reasonable adjustments because they don't take you out of, the context that Dream asks. There's simple things that you can integrate every day.
Listen, we're going to talk more about workplaces and employers' ways of helping dyslexic employees in a moment. But let me announce at this juncture, if you're watching on Facebook and on YouTube, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're discussing dyslexia in adults this morning. If you've got questions from Olayide, feel free to drop them on our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch us live on those two platforms. Our WhatsApp portal is also very open active. WhatsApp number is 0809 597 5805 on WhatsApp. That is 0809 597 5805 on WhatsApp. I would open up the telephone lines right now. 0700 993 993. That is 0700 993 993 and 01465 71904 for female callers only. 01465 71904 for all our female callers only. So let's talk about workplaces, employer, employee. You mentioned it in the past, it could be a great inconvenience for a dyslexic person being put at a wrong, on the wrong bit or wrong assignment or wrong post. But what can employers watch out for to be able to profile their employees well and make sure that they maximize the potential of such employee?
So, one of the statements that I really like to use and that we use at Dyslexia Nigeria is what's good for dyslexia is good for all. If you can put in simple accommodations that are beneficial to dyslexics for everyone thrives. So there's simple things that you can put in place whether or not your employees are dyslexic. And I can come to that later. But in identifying who is dyslexic, yes, they may show some signs that are common to dyslexia and you can address those. But also being aware of those signs yourself is quite helpful. So when we go to organizations and give talks about dyslexia, we do talk about what are some of the common signs that you can see and encourage employees as well to find out if they're dyslexic. And then you can then ask for what you need. I know in some other countries where, budgets and policies have allowed over time for employers to screen for dyslexia before they hire an employee, they're able to see before they start work where they might need some reasonable adjustments. But in this case, an employee speaking up for what they need is perhaps the best way to go, but then the employer has to give the room for that to be welcome and to not then stigmatize the person for speaking up for what they need.
Won't that even predispose such employee to maybe discrimination from the employers themselves?
That's just what I was referencing, and it shouldn't, because this is a brilliant individual who even you have found as great for the job that you have. Now they need some little adjustments. So, for example, if in their communication style they're overwhelmed by emails that come in every 5 minutes, then you can agree with the person. So, what is your best communication style? If you agree, okay, respond to emails in 24 hours, and then if there's something urgent, I'll call you. That doesn't stop their competence from doing the job. They're great at the job. They now just need that little reasonable adjustment. So it shouldn't lead to discrimination. And discrimination itself, it negates the point that we are all neurodiverse. You know, we look at dyslexia and maybe autism or any other learning difficulty as different from the rest. But the reality is we're all different.
Yeah, that's right. I agree totally, completely. I do. But you mentioned something about, knowing the signs of, what are those signs that employers can watch out for?
The signs employers can watch out for are the same signs we mentioned earlier in the show. So, for example, if you have an employee who finds it difficult to follow instructions, who may not remember what you've said before, who has difficulties meeting timelines, who maybe is not very organized, who has difficulties reading volumes of text or maybe writing accurately, writing fluently and with some speed, those are signs of dyslexia. They may have difficulty comprehending what they've read as well. And then the challenges with confidence, with asking for help, with believing that they can deliver on a job.
Olayide, this sounds very enormous. Do you think any Nigerian employer would want to take up such a responsibility?
Of identifying if an individual is dyslexic?
Of accommodating somebody with all of this?
Oh, the truth is, if you listen to the science very clearly, you see that a lot of us struggle with these things.
Yeah,
a lot of us
are dyslexic.
There are common signs.
Yeah.
There are signs of dyslexia, but there are signs that a lot of us show as well.
Yeah.
Again, 1 in 5 of us is on the dyslexic spectrum. It's more common than you think.
Right.
And yes, it's about 40 million Nigerians that are dyslexic. There's a dyslexic person in every classroom, every office. You have more than 5 people. You most likely have someone on the spectrum.
But we don't have in this room right now.
We do.
Oh, Jennifer is dyslexic. You are? Okay, I think I am too.
It is honestly more common than we think. And I think that we routinely lose talent to not being able to accommodate simple things like this.
Indeed.
I think we need to let go of the big word dyslexia. Like it's a big, mammoth thing that we can't break up. And this just made up of little things like this that people struggle with and that we can accommodate without it costing us.
For someone who is dyslexic and he owns a business, let's say a one-man business, how can such a person thrive? I mean, sometimes the fact that we don't even understand ourselves is a big obstacle to start with. How can that person thrive?
I love that question because entrepreneurship is a strength of dyslexia.
Oh.
Many, many, many millions of successful entrepreneurs in the world are dyslexic. I think the one that most people know is Richard Branson of Virgin.
That's right.
And Ingvar Kamprad of IKEA, and so many people, even Nigerians who are successful entrepreneurs. But, like you said, knowing yourself, is key to knowing how to thrive. And working on their own as a dyslexic person does give room to express those ideas. And then you need to bring into your structure people and resources that can plug the gaps that you struggle with. So if you need to bring in technology or other individuals, depending on where your gaps are, then bring them in and give yourself the room to generate those ideas, to be creative, to find innovative ways around solving other problems. And then let other people do the admin and, the paperwork and whatever else it is that you struggle with.
Indeed. So we're going to take a call. We'll jump on this call and see if we can squeeze in an answer before our first break. Good morning to you. Oh, we lost that call eventually. Let's take another one. Nigeria Info, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I think I'm the first caller.
Yes, you are lucky.
Okay. Very big thank you to the guest in the studio and to yourself.
Yeah.
Good morning. This issue of dyslexia, I think is as common as she says it is, because highlighting some of the symptoms or some of the signs, I think I've noticed them in a lot of my loved ones, and I even feel like sometimes I can be that way, except that, like she said, as adults, we eventually build coping mechanisms around these things. And then
Let me go to break. Let me go to break. We'll talk some more after this break, okay? Thank you so much for calling me. I can see your calls, yeah? Olayide, we'll step out now. We'll be back in a moment, Lagos. Stay with us.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Have you been disconnected because you didn't link your national identification number to your MTN number? Don't worry. If you already have your NIN, here are 5 ways to reconnect. 1. Dial *785#. 2. Text your national identification number NIN to 785. 3. Chat with Ziggy on WhatsApp number +234 9033 000001. 4. Visit my MTN NG app. Or 5. Visit www.mtn.ng. If you don't have a national identification number, just walk into any MTN store or NIMSI center near you or visit the MTN website to book an appointment. What are we doing today?
As a glamour girl, life comes at you abruptly with situations that stop you in your tracks. 1 minute, you are living to the fullest. And the next, you're running for your life with your blood sister.
But no matter how far or how hard, as a man of God, can you ever outrun who you truly are? Explore the drama, betrayal, and suspense of our stories in our upcoming films, Man of God, Blood Sisters, and Glamour Girls. Sign up on Netflix.com.
Oh, lunch. Guys, I'm going for lunch. Please, put more stew. Nice meal. My chest.
Suffering from heartburn and indigestion? Try Just Eat. My recommendation for the past 26 years. Just Eat is a brand of aluminium and magnesium hydroxide and simethicone. Just Eat is available in suspension and tablets. Remedy for heartburn, indigestion, flatulence, and acidity.
Jested, now available in new packs. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please see your doctor. Read leaflet inside.
My name na Shegun and I be village man. All of una wey like to blame us village people because una business they do well. Say una think say we no get our own issue ni. Abeg, we village people no get your time oh. Check yourself first.
Village people aren't the reason your business isn't growing. Introducing MoneyPoint, a business bank that helps you realize your business dreams. With easy access to quick loans, ease of payment collections, and general business management tools. Visit www.moneypoint.com and let's help you power your business dreams. MoneyPoint, powering dreams.
Anytime your data finish, it is show Gabi. Could be like say they cut your wire when everybody get light. From now, anytime your data finish, you will take Shikini money, subscribe on top MTN all social bundle for 50 naira daily, 100 naira weekly, or 250 naira monthly to browse Yafu on top Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram, Ayoba, WeChat, to go, Biscuit or Heskime. Easy. Down *131 *3 *6# to subscribe to MTN all social bundle. Make you begin the browse Yafu. So now what did we they do today?
Find the strength I need every time that I look into your eyes. And when the night comes, you hold me in your arms and you say, I'll never let you go, my sweet baby. You'll never let me down. No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day, no matter when I show you.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
There are 3 people whose calls I won't miss for the world. My mom.
Oh, my grandbabies.
My wife.
Babe, I have just...
And finally, Dele, my guy, who works at ARM. I can't afford to miss his calls. You see, Dele is always on my matter, informing me about investment opportunities before everyone else, so I can always be ready. He always has a new strategy to grow my money. The way he carries the matter on his head, You think it's more than just his day job. But that's why Dele is my person, because he's invested in my tomorrow.
At ARM, we want to help you achieve your goals, because when you succeed, we succeed. Visit www.arm.com.ng. ARM, invested in your tomorrow.
Wondered how luxury feels like? Try the Amari Grandeur, a luxurious 5-bedroom semi-detached duplex designed with exotic lifestyle in mind.
Imagine waking up to the sounds of nature, walking into the fully equipped gym while your kids experience happiness on the playground. Imagine smart living and quality family time.
Close to the Novare Mall, Green Spring School, and many more. With 7 million naira initial deposit and a 12-month payment plan, the Amari Grandeur has your name on it. Visit www.theamari.com or call 0812-674-6450 or 0816-761-2497.
.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
.3 Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info. Information is a source of development. Stay tuned.
This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to the Crossfire here on 99.3. I am Sheriff Quadry. Olayide is here, Executive Director, Dyslexia Nigeria. And we've been having dyslexia, this conversation on dyslexia in adults. We have spoken to adults directly. We've spoken to employers. We've spoken to employee on this show. We've even spoken to parents. But let's speak to more about. Let's speak to the general populace now about the awareness level when it comes to dyslexia. How would you assess the awareness level on dyslexia?
I mean, honestly, from our work, it's quite evident that the awareness about dyslexia is very, very low. Many people don't know what dyslexia is. Even when they're faced with it every day, they really don't know what the signs are presenting as dyslexia.
I mean, I could tell you that I would agree with you, because parents would tell you that these boys spank the parents, they spank the child on the head every time. The teachers almost similar, the same thing. That shows that we really need to educate ourselves.
That's right.
As adults, really. But where can that education start?
Right now, education can start by taking a simple course on understanding dyslexia. I know we offer one at Dyslexia Nigeria. It's a good place to start. Understanding dyslexia, understand what it is, what the signs are, and where to go for help. That's the basic starting point.
Yeah. How about schools, teachers?
Yeah, that understanding is primarily for teachers, honestly, who are faced with dyslexia every day, because, dyslexia presents in education. So in a situation where you have kids who are learning to read and write every day, who are in the education system, this is where you see the signs of dyslexia presented the most. So you have to understand what dyslexia is and know what the signs are. So absolutely, you're absolutely correct. Schools are the primary place where we really need more awareness around dyslexia.
The school owners, teachers listening right now, how can they get that education? How is it like? Do you conduct training for schools?
Of course, Dyslexia Nigeria runs a lot of trainings on schools. So we have different types of training. So we have the basic foundational ones and awareness of what dyslexia is, what the signs are, how to spot it, and then how to support a child with dyslexia in the classroom. How to support them to read, to write, to spell, how to support them with study skills as well. And we do train young people in universities and high school on how to study if you have dyslexia. So there is training available for people to take, and quite affordably as well.
Just so we're clear about this, I can't allow you to mention the price because you have to pay me for.
Of course, lip seals.
Good. For those who are wondering why we here on Nigeria Info are particular about dyslexia, because we're very, very particular about dyslexia, actually. But I would love for you to say one or two things about what we stand to lose if we continue to wallow in complete ignorance about dyslexia?
Yeah, we stand to lose a lot. So, for example, about 30% of individuals with dyslexia drop out of school. Because of frustration, they're not able to cope, not able to understand, don't see that they belong there, don't see a way out of there, and then they just drop out. That's, life courses that are changed because they don't have an education that they can build on. A lot of people that crime, I think up to 40% of children in remand homes are dyslexic. A lot of people who end up in jails are dyslexic. They fall into delinquency, but also mental health costs. People with depression are dyslexic. Some of the suicides that have been found happening in schools are linked to individuals who had dyslexia. Again, the frustration with coping with it on their own without any assistance is quite costly. And then in the workplace, having high turnovers, people who cannot give their best, who don't believe that they can contribute what they do have to contribute. We do lose a lot in terms of the brain power that we have, and obviously what we can generate as an economy from that. So I think the costs are layered from the person to the organizations to the whole society. We have a lot to lose. 1 in 5 of us is dyslexic. 40 million people, that's like the population of Lagos and Kaduna and Kano all together. Imagine everyone living in these 3 states being on the dyslexic spectrum, every single person. Do you know that means?
It means a lot.
That's
It means a lot, really, I must say. Let's begin to take calls now, and I'll follow up with my own much later on. 0700 993 993 993 and 01465 7190. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Yes,
morning,
please.
sir.
Good morning to you.
Yes, sir. My name is Togbe Joshua, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, I listened to your program,
Okay.
and there is something I want to tell you, sir.
Okay, go on.
I'm saying that Ikoyi
Okay.
Obarende,
Okay.
there's one challenges I have.
What's that?
One of my son,
Okay.
the boy is going to 7 years now.
Okay.
The boy did not talk. He did not walk. Even he cannot sit down. I've been battling it.
Have you tried to get help?
Sir?
Have you tried to get help? Have you taken him to the hospital?
Yes, we are using Mercy Hospital.
Okay. So what's the diagnosis?
For physiotherapy.
Okay. What's the diagnosis? What were you told?
We have been doing the physiotherapy since all this while, but I have not seen any results.
But you were told that physiotherapy is the first protocol. That's the first treatment, or whatever it is, the approach.
Yes, sir.
I would say that you should follow your doctor's advice. That is what I would tell you. That's simply what I would just tell you. But thank you. I do understand your plight. It's never an easy thing to have to deal with that. But then you must strictly follow your doctor's advice. Please. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I'm just going to say thank you to you and Olayide for bringing this awareness. I mean, I have a son who battled dyslexia, but I didn't know until he was about 12.
Okay.
And imagine my frustrations on him, would beat him, would do all sorts of things until someone called my attention to what dyslexia was, or what dyslexia is. So I'm just really very appreciative of you guys bringing out this information, and I hope that parents would take this up and look into it. I mean, even teachers.
Yeah.
So, Olayide, I am hoping that you have a campaign that will go to schools, especially maybe even public schools where they are not very aware or enlightened about this stuff. Because I have a teacher who stigmatized my son. I mean, he enters a room and he's the one that would speak most. They call him an orator, but when it comes to reading, he was an issue, and I didn't know that. I had to homeschool him for 2 years at some point, and that was eventually when I got to know. Now he's in the university.
How is he? Oh, he's in the university now.
Yes, and he's doing excellently well.
Big guy.
He's not the best in writing, but I think he's had his coping mechanism for reading.
Right.
And yeah, So this is really very, very, very good.
Awesome.
I just want to say thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you too for calling. Yes,
Thank
Olayide.
you. Yeah, I was just going to thank her so very much for that and for committing to helping her child succeed in school and in life. And I think, even her speaking about her son being an orator speaks to that spiky skill set we're talking about earlier. Really good in some things and then struggling with reading.
Indeed. We've got calls chipping in. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, please. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Chef. I'm Olayide.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hi, Olayide.
My name is Timlen Abiodun.
Oh, Abiodun. Hi.
Yes. So I have dyslexia, but like minor dyslexia.
Okay.
And I'm 14 years old, basically.
Oh, at 14.
Yes, I'm 14.
Oh, you are 14 now?
Yes.
Oh, wow. You don't sound 14. How did you know? How did you find out?
Like when she brought it up this morning, and I learned like she said something about comprehending how to read more than once, and then I realized that I don't like reading at all. I only like writing, but I only read only if I'm forced to read, basically.
Oh.
Then I also noticed that I have very, very low self-esteem, and I remember when she said that at the beginning.
Yeah, she said that. That's right. But how are you coping? How are you managing it?
I just, the problem is basically, I am very, very shy, and in school, even though I know the correct answer, and I'll not be sure to know if it's correct or wrong.
Oh.
So I will just keep it to myself. And also, in school, I always feel as if I'm dumb, and I'm not smart.
But do your parents, do they know?
I just told my mom now.
Now, Abby?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said that she believes in me, that I don't have the extreme one, that I only have minor dyslexia, basically.
Oh, okay.
You're very lucky to have a mom who believes in you, and I'm so proud of you for seeing that you do have strengths that you can utilize. So please don't feel dumb in school. Don't feel that you're not good enough. You are good enough. We just need to find ways for you to cope with the main reading and writing that you're faced with.
Okay, I also have a question.
Yes, please. Go on.
Okay, so how do I overcome this dyslexia? My friend told me that it's not a medical problem. So is that true?
That is not a medical problem, right?
Yeah, that
okay.
was
All right.
That is absolutely correct. Dyslexia manifests in education, and its intervention is in education. And for you to be certain that you are dyslexic and to know what your cognitive profile is, your strengths and weaknesses, and strategies that will help you specifically, you should get a diagnostic assessment.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for calling and thank you for sharing. We really do appreciate it. Let's jump on the mail line now and see if we have a mail caller. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Yes,
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Well done, Mr. Sheriff.
Yes, please.
And your guest, good morning.
Morning to you.
Please, I want to talk about the educating the schools.
Okay.
Very, very important.
Okay.
I have a daughter who have can I call it disorder?
Okay.
And we have been coping with it for almost 10 years now.
Oh.
But in this, they don't take it all the time. They beat her. They do all sorts of things. And I made to do the same thing. So I can see this is why it's very, very important to educate the
schools
and the schools, the teachers and the proprietors or the proprietors, so that they can get to know about this thing instead of just beating the children.
I
just
agree.
Because they did not know about the problem that the child is coping with. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice day.
You too. Thank you, Olayide. I mean, it's what we said. Like she said, our daughter, 10 years. It's just being
This is exactly
beaten.
what we discussed earlier. Yes, people who don't, like teachers who don't understand what dyslexia is, sometimes they believe that you can beat it out of a person. It's not possible for that to happen. You beat out a person's confidence and willingness to learn, if anything, and faith in the education system in total. We are going to schools. We're in public schools, we're in private schools, we give school talks. I mean, thank you for having us here. People hear about us from here, from TV, from, sometimes in the papers. And we are trying our best to create awareness, but people do need to know more about what dyslexia is, how common it is. It's the most common learning difficulty in the entire world. 90% of all specific learning difficulties are dyslexia.
Oh wow.
So it is, for every teacher there's a dyslexic child in your classroom.
Oh wow. Let's take another call. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hi, my name is or it's my first time caller, but I've been a lifetime listener.
Oh, good to have you eventually.
Okay, so what I want to talk about, it's not really in relation to this topic, but my son,
Yeah.
he's very good at school, writing, putting things together, puzzles and all of that. His problem is with speech, and he doesn't talk, and then he's very shy. He's 4 years old.
Have you tried to get him help?
Yes, I've tried the speech therapy thing with one consultant, but it didn't work out quite well. He's able to read the alphabet, but putting words together and making up sentences, it's very difficult for him, and finds it difficult to even relate with adults, but when he see kids, he plays along with kids.
Okay.
But he's still having that problem.
Does he talk to the kids? Does he speak out when he's playing with the kids?
A few mothers, few words, maybe their names, and that's just it.
Okay, and it's 4, Abby?
He's 4.
That's a delayed speech. I've had a speech therapist here, but you know what? Would you like to say a word or two on that?
I mean, I would encourage him really to go to a speech therapist, and I know he's mentioned he's been to one. Maybe go to another one. I mean, dyslexia, I wouldn't expect that by 4 they're not speaking at all. So dyslexia may be a challenge he's going through, but it's not likely the only thing he's going through. So I would encourage investigation, some more investigation. Yeah.
I should get Mrs. Amodu in here. She would be able to, attend to that holistically. Let's see who is here this morning. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I'm calling back. I called the first time.
Oh, yes, you called earlier. Then
woke up.
we went. Yes, go on.
Okay, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, this issue of dyslexia, I feel like some higher education should go into premarital courses. People should be taught about dyslexia during premarital courses, and I think maybe antenatal or prenatal, I don't know, classes or what they do.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, the cases of dyslexia is worsened by bad parenting. Because you have cases. Are you there?
I'm with you. I'm enjoying your. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. You had cases where parents all over the place using careless words against their children, telling children you can't amount anything, you're dumb, you're not smart, comparing them to the other kids a lot, that's maybe better at the academics and stuff. I have people close to me, I have loved ones. I have a friend who's really creative, good with advertising, branding and stuff, marketing and all. But then she's good with her academics too, but I feel like it's because she's an adult now and she has been able to let's say, build coping mechanisms around it.
Right.
I have an elder sister who's not really, what we say is she's not really a book person. But now, listening to you guys on the radio this morning, I realized it's dyslexia. She's good at catering. She makes really good cakes, fine and all. But then, when it comes to reading, up to this very point, there are some very simple words. She has to come to me for me to help her pronounce and stuff. And maybe spell. She's older than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm 24. But then she has to come to it for it. And when I was really younger, I used to be very irritated and really touchy when she comes, because I'm like, why would you not know this one? Didn't I tell you yesterday?
Yeah.
But then growing older, I became more understanding. So I feel like a lot should go into educating family people. Before they get married, premarital courses should contain courses on dyslexia.
Well said,
and
my
then
brother.
I think antenatal or prenatal classes or stuff
said.
like that, they should educate people like that. Thank you very much. You guys are doing wonderful.
Absolutely well said. Well said, Olayide.
Very beautifully said, and I think there's a lot to learn from even what he has shared as well. That he's seen his sister's thriving in what she's doing, but she's still having difficulties reading. And I would like to use that to highlight that reading is not the end of the world. That you can't read the words doesn't mean that you amount to nothing. There are ways around that these days. And I think our society judges the value of people by whether or not we can read, but there's so much more to a person than reading what's on paper, and I love that he's been able to identify that, and his sister is thriving.
Taking it from his own contribution, what's the impact of social media on dyslexic people? Is there a connection between the two?
I think that there's more than one connection between social media and dyslexia. I think, first of all, social media is great for awareness because so many more people now can talk about dyslexia, share the signs, share their experience with dyslexia, share strategies. But also, I think people who are dyslexic, who are creative and want to express themselves in different ways, are free to do that on social media and grow from there. And people can appreciate those strengths that they bring, that they can show on their feed, in videos, in the way they speak, and they can make a living also from social media.
Yeah, and you won't even be able to tell because that's their strength.
Like I said to you on break, can you tell whether or not I'm dyslexic by speaking with you?
No, I can't.
Probably cannot.
But are you dyslexic?
I'm not dyslexic, but I could be. I could be. If I was, you would never know.
You
but
never know.
I'm not dyslexic.
You never know. You know what? We must begin to pack our things now. But before we go, Olayide, I look at my lines, all blinking. I can't take any further calls right now. But how can people reach out to you if they've got questions to ask you, your social media account or something? I mean, I'm sure that you're on Instagram or you're on Twitter or somewhere.
Yes, we are on all of those platforms. And you can reach us on Instagram at Dyslexia Nigeria. You can reach us on Facebook at Official Dyslexia Nigeria. You can reach us on Twitter at Dyslexia Niger. That's 9JA. And you can call or WhatsApp us on 0810-753-1682 or call us on 0902-544-6486.
Olayide, thank you so much, Executive Director, Dyslexia Nigeria. You want to say something? What is it now?
Thank you so much for having me, Sheriff. It's been a wonderful conversation here with you today. And I really enjoyed discussing this and sharing this with everyone else who was able to listen. And I thank you for, giving your platform to something that is so common, so important to discuss.
That's right.
So thank you for having me here today.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and we'll have you here some more at a later date because the conversation on dyslexia is never ending. We all have to know about it. We all have to spread the gospel. As a parent, you've learned something today. As a school owner, you've learned something today. As a teacher, you've learned something today. As a brother, as a sister, let's all carry this as personal project and spread the word. Olayide, thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you so much.
I'm Sheriff Quadry. I'll see you on Monday morning at 5. You can track my Waka Waka on social media at Sheriff Quadry on Instagram and at Sheriff Quadry on Twitter. I'll see you. Bye for now.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.